The Territorial Cup is staying in Tempe after a 24-14 victory for the Arizona State Sun Devils. Quinn Jamieson alongside Andrew Bell here for the House of Sparky post-game show. Now, Andrew, that's 3 straight years for ASU winning the Territorial Cup. Does that mean they officially lay claim to the state of Arizona?
I think for the time being, it's pretty good. Something good to work off for ASU, and just a good performance tonight. I don't even think it was their best effort. They were helped along by some U of A miscues. 2 interceptions by Khalil Tate, kind of some self-inflicted wounds, but I thought the defense played really well early on, and then offensively you can't say enough about Benjamin, but overall really good night to be a Sun Devil, and just a good win all around. Anytime you get a win in a rivalry game, it doesn't matter what the record is, it's a good night. So overall, pretty good game for the Sun Devils.
Speaking of Benjamin, he had 34 carries and really had the majority of the workload because Arizona was trying to take away that explosive passing game. How crucial was he to Arizona State's victory tonight?
Yeah, I think this is kind of the Herm Edwards DNA and what they're kind of trying to establish on offense. I know it's been kind of a struggle this year with the offensive line, a lot of missing pieces, shifting parts at times, but that's kind of what they want it to look like. And U of A, kind of a defense that has struggled a little bit this year, and a game that Benjamin really picked up on in this game. But I think moving forward, that's what they want to do. They want to be a ground and pound, run-first football team, and Benjamin tonight really had it going, was following his blockers, bouncing off tackles. He was blocking really well as well when they were throwing some screen passes and just really all over the place. He surpasses 1,000 yards as well, and I think his legacy as the Sun Devil is going to be a great one. He had a tweet last May, said, "I want to be the most hated man in Tucson." I'm pretty sure he secured that tonight.
Well, that's 2 years in a row he's made a huge impact in the Territorial Cup, and those were some hard-fought yards. It's not like he had tons of open space. He was bouncing off tackles, just as you said. Now, another factor in Arizona State's win was their defense. The second half of the season especially, or the last 2 games per se, the defense has really picked it up kind of as Danny Gonzalez had hoped they would. And again, you mentioned self-inflicted wounds for Arizona, but the defense still came up with 3 interceptions. They came up with big stops in the first half especially. How crucial were they to Arizona State's success?
Yeah, I mentioned the self-inflicted wounds and for Arizona wanting to take care of the football in addition to those 2 missed field goals that they had. But defensively, you still got to give credit to ASU. It's kind of been a theme all year. Bend, don't break mentality in the Danny Gonzalez 3-3-5 scheme. And it's even when teams are gaining yards, you got to find a way to force a turnover. He set a number earlier this year for how many turnovers he wanted from his guys. They didn't quite get there, but tonight turnovers were big. It was big in the Oregon game as well. You got to give credit to the secondary. Jack Jones coming up with 2 picks tonight, has another one last week against Oregon. Thought Chase Lucas was pretty good and covered as well, and then Merlin Robertson gets the pick. So those guys, when they needed a play and when Arizona's kind of driving, there's a moment in that game where they get down the red zone. Jones has the big pick that ends up being a really big play in this football game, and that's kind of what the Danny Gonzalez defense is all about. Bend, don't break. There's been times where it's been ugly this year for ASU. Teams have put up some big numbers on them. You think about those first quarters against USC, Oregon State, not their best performances, but when you look at the entirety of it, it's a pretty good defensive unit this season.
Absolutely, and I mean they only allowed 14 points, which is good in any college football game. Now, moving forward, Arizona State is looking for what bowl game they're going to be in. I saw some Holiday Bowl representatives here today. We're waiting on that, but for tonight, everyone is celebrating in Tempe, the most important game of the season, a big victory for the Sun Devils. Alongside Andrew Bell, I'm Quinn Jamieson for the House of Sparky post-game show.